Guys, what's going on? It is Tuesday night, 8 p.m. on the East Coast. I got no intro this week. I got a new computer, and I forgot to move the file over to this computer, and it's a live show, and we're on a deadline, and it was 8:01, and I was still fumbling around. So we're just going to jump straight into it. No intro tonight. I hope that you're well. If you're lucky, I hope that you're on vacation already for the holidays. I am not, but I find that to be a blessing this day and age. I'm lucky enough to be running my own company, and I'll take any pay I can get. So if that means I got to work through the holiday, I will. I will have off Christmas and Christmas Eve and all that kind of stuff. So it's a good time in my life. Hey, to everybody, specifically right now, sisters and brothers that are out there celebrating Hanukkah, my very best to you. I hope you have a wonderful holiday, and I hope everybody has a great Christmas coming up and a good New Year. Be safe, all that good stuff, but enjoy some time with your family. Hey, I also know it could be a tough time, the holidays in general, no matter what you're celebrating. It could be a tough time. Makes us think of one's friends, loved ones that we've lost and that we have memories with that aren't with us anymore. So blessings to y'all is what I'm trying to say. I hope you're doing well. I got some updates. Hey, I'm going to be vending in January 2023 coming up, 2 weekends. So I got dueling calendars. That's my 2022 calendar, and that's my 2023 calendar. Next week, I'll move that over there. You don't care about my calendars. January 14th, I will be vending at the Show Me Snake show in Jacksonville, Florida. And then in Orlando at the Orlando Repticon, the 21st and the 22nd. The Tampa Repticon already sold out in February before I could get in. And I actually was already booked for a music gig down in Punta Gorda that Sunday, which is those of y'all that don't know your Florida geography, which is okay because the world doesn't revolve around Florida, even though we think it does. Punta Gorda is about 2 hours south of Tampa. So I'm thinking of going and hanging out at the show, booking a gig with my buddy because we got a Friday night gig in Jacksonville and a Sunday gig in Punta Gorda. Maybe we'll play a gig after the Repticon show there in Tampa. I'm working on it. So let's see what's up. But anyway, I'll be out on the road and hope to catch up with y'all along the way somewhere. We got Andrew from Redwood Reptiles on the show tonight. If you've been watching any of the Instagram ball python world, you've seen him. I think he was kidnapped or I don't know what you call a snake napping. Anyway, it was in the middle of him practicing his dance routine, and he just, Stephen and Courtney just swooped him up. He was gone just like that. If you don't know what I'm talking about, we'll get into it. Stick around. Andrew from Redwood Reptiles is on the show tonight, and we will talk about he and I are on a very, very timeline-wise, we're on a very similar trajectory, and we're going to kind of compare and contrast notes of what we think we did well and maybe what we didn't do well. I can tell you his collection and just wow factor of what he's got going on far surpasses mine. So stick around. We'll talk about his Sunset project as well. And I want to talk some business stuff. He's an LLC. I am a sole proprietor, and we can get into a little bit of that kind of nerdy stuff. And of course, anything you guys want to talk about. Couple shout outs. Hang on. I got, this is a shirt from Mario I got to cover my face. Then it'll focus. Golden Rule Reptiles. And then Shannon at Green Dragon Brokers. That's green, not Reen. Green Dragon Brokers. Guys, y'all are awesome. Thank you very, very much. I got to have dinner with Shannon on, I don't know what day it was, earlier this week. Last Wednesday, maybe? Anyhow, he picked up some snakes, and it was good to catch up. Nice swag. I appreciate it. The first time I met Chris from BNS Reptilia, the first thing out of his mouth was, whoa, the camera does really add 10, or in your case, 20 pounds. On a good day, I fill out a medium. So if you guys want to, send some swag, that's cool. But extra larges don't do a whole lot for me. Just so you know, I am still thankful. Quick shout out to Unlikely Morphs. I got to talk to them today on Instagram. Really nice conversation. And let's see, coming up next week, it's the year-end party. If you want to come hang out, just shoot me a note on Instagram and I'll send you the link. We'll keep it going with like 3 or 4 people at a time. So you might come in and then get booted out kind of thing. We're going to keep it kind of chill next week. Maybe not. Sorry, less structured, I'll say. So just a ball python breeders hangout. Me and Gershon from GP Snakes will be hosting. I'll say at 9 o'clock, top of the hour. It's a showdown. Me and Charlie Ryan from Reagan Renee Royal Pythons. The first ever Proper Royals You Laugh, You Lose challenge. We're going to be slinging snake dad jokes about snakes, whatever it is. Come join. 10 rounds of dad jokes. If you laugh, you'll lose. Charlie, it's on. That's next week. The following week, first Tuesday in January 3rd, Stephen from Leviathan Snakes will be back. Last year, the first Tuesday of the year, we did a goals episode, and I've actually had my goals tacked up here for the whole year. We're going to see how we did with each other's goals in 2020 and set some new goals in 2023. Kind of a episode of accountability, if you will, among friends and colleagues in the industry. And then on January 10th, I've got, let me make sure I don't mess up any names here. Marks and Cheryl from Creation Collective. Marks and Cheryl from Creation Collective. 2 awesome folks I got to meet and work with when last time I was working down in Tampa at the Repticon show. Really interesting people, but very, very good people. We had a great day vending and then just a killer breeders dinner that evening, camaraderie, all that good stuff. So January 3rd, Stephen, the goals episode. January 10th, Marks and Cheryl from Creation Collective. I think that's it, man. For announcements, thank you for a wonderful year, and we'll do all the year-end wrap-up stuff next episode. But I hope you have a wonderful Christmas, Hanukkah, if you're celebrating that, and anything else you may or may not be celebrating. I hope you get a little time to yourself and friends and family. Now then, tonight we got Andrew from Redwood Reptiles. Andrew and I crossed paths, I think on my show, actually. I'd seen some of his stuff on Instagram. He was a really good dude to me. He's contributed to the show and the thanks and the tips and that stuff. And then I found out he was mixed up in this whole Snakes and the Fat Man 15 minutes of lame competition. And in following that, I found out he had a pretty good sense of humor and he's a real down-to-earth dude. And then I was doing show prep. I saw that our trajectory and time working at this is very, very similar. So, you know what, man, we got to talk to this guy. I got to meet him. So help me welcome for the very first time ever to the Proper Royals stage. This is Andrew from Redwood Reptiles. Andrew, how are you tonight, man?
What's up? How's it going, man?
It is going well. As I said earlier, I'm fortunate to just be busy in my life right now. I'm actually exhausted today, but I kind of have that like weird, like tired, nervous energy, So I think it's going to be a good show. And I feel like you're a dude that balls up some energy too. Like I feel like it's just like you look business mode right now. Like you're ready to go.
Oh yeah. Well, I'm tired with you. My daughter's got my 5-month now. My 5-month-old's got sleep regression she's going through. So I didn't know what that was.
Yeah, what is that?
I guess that's when they at like the 4 to 6 month mark, they wake up like every hour or two.
Oh,
so yeah, and she won't eat it, and she just cries. And so I think I got like 2 hours of sleep last night, and so I'm running on empty, but I'm excited to be here, and I'm gonna hit the reserve tank for it.
There you go, man. I will tell you, I have a 10-year-old son. People are like, how did he sleep? When was his first, when were his first steps? What were his first words? I'm like, I don't know, man. I don't remember. I was asleep. I was just a zombie the whole time, man. And I had it easy compared to mom, I mean, she's the one feeding him,
Mm-hmm.
I kind of roll over and man, it's just, anyhow, I get it, man. I wish you the best on getting her back to sleep for sure, man.
So that's why I look so terrible because I haven't slept. That's why I look so bloated. Like they just fished me out of a river. My eyes are all puffy. It's the camera too. Like you said, it adds 40 pounds.
And that's right. I mean, I would, typically be my slender self if it weren't for this camera this evening,
Yeah.
It does take off some of my hair though. I'll tell you that. Like
too?
I actually have flowing locks. It's
this camera's technology, man.
I know. It's amazing, right?
Yeah.
Andrew, those for those of us, for the people in the audience that don't know you, give us the 30-second to a minute elevator introduction. What do you got going on? Who are you?
Well, my name is Andrew with Redwood Reptiles, and I got into this. I kept snakes since I was about 10, just mostly ball pythons as pets. And in the beginning of 2020, I was watching some YouTube with my oldest, my 13-year-old. And I was telling her, I want to get some more snakes just to have as pets. And I think it was about a month after that, I was all in. Like I wanted to breed snakes.
Yeah.
So I think I started purchasing for the purposes of breeding around April or May of 2020.
Okay.
And still going strong, as strong as I can.
Yeah.
And man, I'll tell you what, it's been a very pleasant surprise, this whole industry. When I first got into it, I just did a little thing where I was talking about tethering your expectations and as far as your time frame goes. And I remember when I first got into it, like most people, I'll be honest, everything on paper looked great. I was like, oh man, I'm gonna buy this and this. My ROI is gonna be here. I'm gonna make my money back in no time.
Yeah.
Once you realize that's not necessarily the case, and you're okay with it, it kind of takes the pressure off and it becomes a lot more enjoyable. So that's kind of where I've been the past year. I've realized, hey, I want to plan these projects 3-5 years out. They're not going to, it's almost like I'm inevitably chasing I don't know, a snake that's never going to come.
Yeah.
But in a good way.
Yeah. I was going through some of that today and I was like, oh, sweet. I'm going to be able to do this and this. And I was like, I don't know, 7 years, man. Like so much is going to change. And like, so I have like a few kind of predetermined long-term goals that I want to get to, but a whole lot of it is it's sort of like life, like what's going to come my way, what opportunities. I was, just to do a teaser for next week's show, excuse me. One of my goals was to buy one, like not buy a snake of many, like to literally buy one snake this year. And I think I'm up to like 45 that I bought or something ridiculous. Like
you're just smashing your goals.
Well, yeah, exactly. Going broke and all of that. No, but what happened was a breeder I had worked with, he suddenly got a promotion and had to move immediately. And he and his wife were like, you know what, we're out. Can you take these for, pennies on the dollar?
Right.
Well, that was a smart move for me. But I had no idea on that. And then, in August and September, when inflation is still very high, but there was sort of this panic, before we had sort of assimilated what was going to be coming our way. A very similar thing happened again, man. I've been able to really buy and pick up some amazing deals. And it's sort of like, all right, if I'm going to be at this years, half decade, decades into the future, buy the dips, man. I mean, that's the old investing thing, So I kind of took it that way. And that's where I landed right now. But all these long-term project plans I had changed because I have so many different resources now and different opportunities. And I see behind you got two separate sizable ARS racks back there. So how many like non for sale animals are you up to now? And how have you grown in that time?
I think I've got 50 to 60 that I'm going to sell, that I plan on selling. But as far as maybe about 130.
Okay. Yeah, that's sizable. So I think I'm at 85 altogether, and I got about 30 for selling, about 50 in my hold back breeder kind of thing.
Well, I mean, the thing is though, is I preach to people just based off what I've seen. As far as when I explain to people, yeah, I'm going to breed snakes and that's going to be my retirement plan, blah, blah, blah. And they don't get it, right? Because they're looking at the commodity, or they're looking at what you're actually, the industry you're in, as opposed to the business element aspect of it. So it doesn't matter what it is. Like, take out the fact that it's a snake. It's an object that you can get an insane return on investment if you do it properly. Unlike any other industry. I mean, even more so than real estate from what I've seen. And it's not, like I said, it's not 100%, it's not automatic, but if you do it right, there is that potential there. And so if you're going to look at it from a legitimate business perspective in all other areas, why not look at it in, like you said, the buy low way? It's the same thing with real estate. I mean, and that's like, right now the market's so saturated with so many unwanted animals, because this is my theory, is that, you know, during the pandemic, all these people were at home, they had their money, they're buying into it, and you had a lot of people that were investing improperly. And so now they've produced these snakes that have no real marketable value, and nobody's going to buy them. And so now you see 40,000 snakes or ball pythons on Morph Market, and 20,000 of those nobody wants. So you've got a flooded market, but at the same time, this little dip or recession or whatever people are calling it, or, you know, whatever it may or may not be, is, in my opinion, what's going to weed out those breeders and the people, because there's a lot of them that are investing properly with a lot of money and doing it the right way, are going to, you know, it's going to resurge, I think. And I'm not worried about it personally.
Yeah. You know, looking long-term, there's ways to make money in boom times and in bust times. You don't always get your money at that same moment, but you almost always live with the results or the consequences of your actions in both of those times. And I agree with you that, again, if we're looking at it from a long-term standpoint, this is any industry. Ask anybody that, I mean, I'm very familiar with the restaurant industry. I'm fairly familiar with real estate because I like that as well. But it's any market. I mean, that is going to happen. And I would agree with you that, you know, the weird conflicts and aside from any fiscal policy or politics, COVID and the pandemic changed the world in many ways. And it changed, one of the things that changed is what we do with our spare time and our money, myself included. You said April of 2020. That's when I bought my banana pastel, man. I was on board in April of 2020. So, I think one thing that got overlooked, though, is all these people that are producing all these snakes, like you say, that are either unwanted or less desirable, or supply is outpacing demand, whatever economic force we want to apply to it, is people overlooked how to sell the snakes. They got lazy. It was easy when you could just, you know, put something on Morph Market and it was gone. Well, what happens if it doesn't sell on Morph Market? And that's something that I think that you established pretty well with your online presence. It's something I tried to do. It's a reason I keep up this show. I've always seen this show and my channel as a safety net or a hedge against tough markets. And as tough as this has been, it'll be by far my best year. I guess on the upside, if this was a good year for me and it was tough, next year should be great, kind of thing, you know? So I look at it as sort of a matter of fact, not quite fatalistic, but what's that expression? It is what it is. What to do? You know, we're got to figure out how to get through, or figure out how to fold up shop elegantly. And I'm not ready to do that. So,
No, I'm not, definitely. And yeah, I agree with you. This year for me is sales wise is definitely worse than last year. However, because of the year we're in, it's not the same last year. As people aren't investing the money as they were, one. And then two, I offloaded a lot of animals fairly quickly after I bought them, like several months, when I realized, hey, that was a dumb purchase. Or so some of this wasn't necessarily making money. You know, I did have some sales of stuff that I'd bred personally. But all those things that I sold last year, I can guarantee you wouldn't sell this year and this time. And so I looked at it. I'm not so much, you know, like I said, once I started realizing it's more of a long game, I started not concerning myself as to when I'm going to be in the black again. I'm more so concerned about, am I creating the building blocks for the projects that I want to create 2-3 years down the road or more? And so I think that the stuff that I produced this year, I feel a good amount of it will sell next year. I'm pretty confident the next year is going to smash this year and last year, but and then the year following should be even better, hypothetically. Yeah, I don't let it discourage me. Like you said, you just take the bumps along the way. There's no industry that's going to be perfect, or no business that's going to be without its issues or hangups. But I think if you get into it knowing that and accept that and just learn how to roll with the punches, it shouldn't, it shouldn't make you want to just quit.
No, and it shouldn't. What's that expression? When the tide goes out, you see who's swimming naked. I think the fundamentals come through. And I do want to clarify, this year was far better for me than last year was, but I produced more and better this year. So my trajectory continued upwards, but I think that was independent of what's going on in the market. Maybe not. And maybe it's that I've worked harder and got better at selling and all the hard things, whatever it was a good year for me, but I am absolutely looking towards the future. So enough of the recession talk. Cause the other thing that I wonder is that if it's sort of becoming a little bit of a self-fulfilling prophecy where we all talk about this and then people are like, well, I was going to buy one, but I heard everything sucks, like I don't want to add to that either, So it'll be interesting to see after the holidays, these two shows that I'm vending. One's a very small show here in Jacksonville, but one's a very big show in Orlando. I'm curious to see because they'll be my first shows I've ever vended. So there's a whole lot of interest to me on that, but I'll be curious to see what's going on. The last few that I were at got pretty good reviews though. So
I honestly don't think it's anywhere near what people are making it out to be.
Yeah.
Now this is just from the outside looking at it. I haven't looked at all the numbers, but at the same time, from what I've seen and from Antoine said from High Desert, he said the same thing. He's like, I just think it's manufactured. I think it's like you said, it's kind of like people are using it as a handicap as to why they're failing or why they're nothing's selling or this or that, or they're just jumping on some negative thing they want to jump on. I don't know. I think there's something to it. I just don't think that it's as severe as people are leading on.
Right. Yeah. And I would say that there's probably truth to both of that. I would say from the consumer standpoint, yeah, money's getting more expensive right now because interest rates are going up. Yeah, that's the plan from the Fed. That's fine. But that's an interesting point of using it as a crutch. Is from a seller standpoint, I don't think any seller should use it as a crutch. Like we get out there and we go work or we make plans to ride out the ups and downs. That's our responsibility as business-minded individuals, or that it's a hobby that we prepared ourselves for riding out. So,
well, it's also I think created a vacuum for high-end snakes, for as far as sales go. From what I've seen at for sure at Tinley in person, then from other people that are selling the high-end stuff, there's still a market for it, and that market's I don't want to say hot, but it seems to be very active. From the people I've talked to. Now the other market, because I think and the reason why I say that is because I think the people that can buy $20,000-$30,000 snakes aren't going to be affected as much as the vast majority of the industry when it comes to this, things being more expensive, gas, recession, whatever it is. So they're able to still make their purchases. And like you said earlier, those are the ones that are going to come up and buy some stuff on the cheap. And then once we pull out, it's going to help them.
Yeah, I agree with you. I worked, you're going to wonder what this has to do with anything, but I'll tie it together in a second. I worked at one in particular, extremely high-end private club, literally owned by a billionaire. He bought the mountain. I was in charge of the hospitality and the restaurants and everything on the mountain. That I started there in 2011, kind of in the doldrums of the Great Recession, as it's become known. Those folks didn't feel it. No problem. It's, I'm a little on the lower side of filthy rich, or I'm filthy rich. Okay. And at the high end of anything, and I don't even begrudge, many of them were nice people, fine. I don't even begrudge people that can't afford that, because there's a high end of every market. And I would agree with you. both active and, like you say, scooping up the deals that are out there. So if people were looking, I would say look for opportunities. I mean, any reasonable project is probably a 3 to 5 year project. We could also go through another recession before any of us even reach that project. You know, I mean, these things come and go.
But it also goes to the point that I've tried to implement as best as I could, you know, with limited budget. But it goes to the point of it pays to invest, or it pays to breed, try and get into these certain projects. So for example, like, oh, I don't want to spend the money, I'm just going to make this single gene recessive. Or you could do a visual het to a het, you know, to double het, try and, you know, shoot for the odds, or double het to double het. But the fact that you're taking risks like that doesn't necessarily mean you have to spend a fortune. But if you do it and it pans out, like Jacob, Civil Serpents, guy sold an Enchi leopard DG clown that he produced off of a visual het to a double het. And he sold that thing for a mint. So, you know, and this wasn't somebody that came into the industry and spent a fortune on that pairing. Right. Like, it's a very modest purchase. But that's my thing, is like, people are so worried about taking risks. I've seen this a lot, to where they try and go with this, what they think is the safer bet. But okay, you made a pastel Enchi desert ghost, really pretty snake, right? But who wants it? You know, it's obsolete at this point with what everyone's doing. So keeping your finger on the pulse of the market and the way it's moving is, I think, super important. And I think that's one of the reasons why I'm not super concerned, is because some of the stuff that I risked when I've made bigger purchases in the beginning is, luckily, some of it's panned out, and some of it I'm still waiting for it to pan out. But, you know, those risks I took did happen to work out for me. And they might not always, but you can't go chasing these simple projects just because you can afford them. Yeah.
And I'm a little at a different part of the spectrum from what I would call my risk tolerance level. For a long time, I was really into poker, to the point where I had to choose between poker and college, and I chose college smartly.
Oh, man.
But there's a movie called Rounders. I don't know if you're familiar with it or not. Yeah. So, you know, there's the main guy that's always swinging for the fences, and you know, he's got his stacks of high society, you know, the 10 grand stacks. But then there's the other guy, I forget his name, that drives the truck, and you know, they're all giving him crap because, oh, that guy, he's just a grinder, he's never going to hit it rich. And one of the guys across the table goes, that guy hasn't clocked in for a job in 20 years. Like, I want to go big and I want to hit it big, but you know what? If I can make it grind and buy and not clock in for a job for the next 20 years, I'll be that.
I'm with you on that. And that's one, I don't want that to get confused. I agree with that. What I'm saying is try and work in. So let's say you I don't know, let's say you have 10 grand to spend on stuff, right? You want to play. I see what you're saying. You know, you make stuff that's going to sell. You're going to have some, you know, residual income coming in, and there's safer investments as far as the genetics. You could totally do that. What I'm saying is throw in a riskier double het to double het pairing that doesn't cost a lot of money. You know, spend $2,000 on a pair of really nice double hets, and then even if you hit single to single, and you're still gonna. Point is the odds are in your favor to take that calculated risk, just like poker. But I'm not, you know, because nobody's got 5, 10, 20 grand to spend on a snake.
Right, yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And I should clarify too. So I have kind of 2 lanes, and I've actually even broken them up. Like, in that room back there, there's a door back to the right. If you head back there, that's my like 10-year mint. I hope, fingers crossed. That's where I'm doing my double het. I've got a couple double visuals back in there, and that's most of them. This out here is my show stock and my things that I'm not going to hold back, but that I hope can float me along the way while I'm investing in the stuff in the room, so to speak. And I'm trying to grow both of them where I can both manage cash flow and have the long-term investments, and hopefully wean down the day-to-day cash flow stuff, unless I just find vending at shows super fun, which in that case, then great. I'll produce that stuff too.
I love it. Yeah.
Yeah. I want to ask you about that, man. I think it'll be fun. I've vended with other people before, but not my stock. It's all been their merch. So I'm looking forward to that. So that's kind of my thing, is to do the cash flow thing until the big stuff really start. And this coming year, I've got a few chances for some double visuals or super plus recessive, which
nice.
And
that's great stuff. And I agree with that, man. That's a good balance of everything. I think it's important.
Yeah.
And that's my point, is that you have your toes in this, the higher end water, not necessarily going to hit right away, but you're still in the game.
Right.
Which is important.
Yeah. Let's talk about speaking of higher end stuff, I think in my show prep, maybe you were just doing videos on other people's snakes, but you got some pretty good stuff cooking. You definitely have several sunsets. Is that correct?
Yeah, I just hatched my first clutch of that out those sunsets.
How'd you do? I didn't watch the whole video. I didn't watch the whole video. I apologize. How did you do?
I did great. So initially, sunset was one of the genes when I first got into it that I saw online, and I just really wanted it. So I had bought a male my first year, it was $5,000, and he was 300-400 grams. I got him at the breeder size. I had him locking with some females, and he gave me one clutch. Right. I had plans to do a pairing with another breeder the following year with some 66% het sunsets to prove them out. My thought was, okay, well, I can see where the market's going. Let me find something with a codom or two on top of it. I'll sell this breeder male, and then by hatching, by the time this comes around, it's probably going to be up to size, and we can have a better, return. So I thought I had one lined up. I didn't. There was some confusion. So I sold that male for a lot cheaper than I realized I should have, half the price. And so now I was like, oh God, I got this 1,200 gram sunset female. I don't know what I'm going to do. Couple months later, she started showing follicle growth, and I was able to find, I had a single gene sunset female, and I was able to find a leopard spot nose pastel double het sunset clown from Miguel that was a proven breeder. So bought that snake, and it wasn't nearly as expensive as you probably think it would be, but I had some good luck. So I had a visual to a het. So everything that clutch is Posset Clown, and I'm going to set those sheds in. But out of the 7 eggs, I hit 4 visuals, and 2 of them were leopard spot nose, and 1 has yellow belly in it. So I think the female had yellow belly. I didn't even realize it, the sunset.
Oh, cool, man. And then, so 2 of those, you never know on a sample size of 4, but 2 of those should be het clown too, man.
Yeah, you'd think so.
Yeah. Like I said, I know on 4.
It's probably going to be the 2 that I want to sell, but
I bet that plan will change if you get those tests back.
Yes and no. Yeah, it might. It would. Yeah.
That could provide great investment money though too, man.
That's exactly. Well, yes. And there's things I want to get into doing my own rats. Me and Jacob from Silver Serpents, he's not far from me. He's about 10 minutes away, and we want to do that together. So, but I want to buy the Freedom Breeder racks. I did some research. I want to just do it. I don't need chew outs. I don't need breakouts. I don't need that. So it's one of those things where, I could really use that cash flow to invest to pay those racks for those racks plus other stuff. But, so I really only want to keep 1.1 from that. Yeah. I've got 1.4 visuals, and then I got 1.2, that are hets, but they're all no normals. They're all combos. So it's a good clutch.
Nice. Only because one time in my life, I was like, what is 1.4 of a snake? That's a male, then the period, and then the females are the second number. So if anybody watching, that would be 1 male, 4 females on a 1.4, for example. Actually, I was in Jeremy Bod's rat room, and he's like, I got a 2.5 here and a 1.3 here. I was like, what are we talking about? Stop.
Yeah.
So, all right. So that's killer though on sunset. That's a cool story. Like that goes to what I was talking about resources coming and going, and like you can have a ballpark project, but then, you roll with the punches and you find ways to succeed and find ways to go forward on it. Tell us about your Mandarin projects, man. You got me like, it's like my flavor of the moment right now. I'm like, maybe I need to figure that out. Tell me about that.
Man, that's also, I discovered that in the beginning when I saw the sunset, and I really wanted to get into it. And I got, so there's a bunch of controversy around it. I'll just say that um, the original, it was founded over in the Netherlands. This guy named Piet. His last name's Nuyten. Anyways, it's NR, which is Nuyten Reptiles. So I apologize for the pronunciation if I'm wrong, but that's where the NR Mandarin comes from.
Okay.
So he's got amazing stuff. He's still exporting it to people out here. I got a male Mandarin OD Enchi yellow belly, and that's either yellow belly or asphalt. I found out later, but I got that male from Brittany Gobbles, who got her stuff from Piet, and so I got him up to size, and he's sired all of my Mandarin stuff, which is about four or five clutches. And one of the males that I made with him, which is a super OD Mandarin Enchi, and then either yellow belly or asphalt, I'm putting that to the sunset female in a couple months that laid this clutch for me.
That's like the orange tour de force, orange dream, Mandarin, Enchi, and then sunset, man.
And then yellow belly too. It really brightens it up. So if I can just, everything's gonna be OD, and then I'll have some Mandarin, everything's gonna be het sunset. So my goal is to make a double super sunset in 2-3 years.
Wow.
So
that's what can you share about it? What was the controversy you were talking about, or is that something to get into?
So there's a breeder out in southeast in Florida who's there's a lot of controversy around him with a lot of projects, but this just so happened to be the more recent one, where he was listing stuff as Mandarin. It wasn't proving Mandarin. He screwed over some big names. He's without saying too much, he's it's irrefutable that he did knowingly do what he did.
I see.
So he resolved it however they resolved it, but so you see a lot of stuff, and sometimes I will admit it's an extremely difficult gene to pick up on camera. Extremely difficult, even more so than sunset.
Pretty subtle.
You've really got to have high-end camera equipment, because there's the tones in it that are extremely hard to pick up. At least they have been for me. So I know that there's some of it is a result of bad photographs where they're actually Mandarin, they list them as such, and then they get a bunch of flack because they're saying, oh, that's not Mandarin. It's like, yeah, it doesn't look Mandarin. And I've seen some where I've said the same thing to certain people. I'm like, that's what? And then he shows me another picture in person. I'm like, well, that one looks more like it. You got to show that one.
Yeah.
Expect. So there is that element to it, but there's also the other element where there ain't no Mandarin in those things. So you have people that have put a lot of money into it that are bigger breeders that have sold offspring, assuming it was what they said it was,
right?
And now they've got to try and make it right, and it's just a big old mess. Yeah, it's something I dipped into for a little bit, but I'm not about the drama and the I hate all that, and I got to treat this more like a business and not like a social event.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's how much time can we waste on just drama, man? Like some people just thrive on it, man. And I'm not about to be one of them, but yeah, there's
it's
time.
Exhausting.
Right? Yeah. I just have to change the channel. I'm like, what? This is literally time I'll never get back in my life. I'm out of here kind of thing. So, all right. Well, thanks for sharing that about the Mandarin. What other recessives are you kind of hot on and working these days?
Puzzle.
Yeah.
I'm into. I've had 4 or 5 clutches of that. Let's see. Desert Ghost Enhancer. I got a chance to hit a triple visual this next coming season of babies that I produced. So I was lucky enough to hit. I had initially thought it was 1.3, so I sold a female. And then when I went to ship it, I popped it, and it was a male, so I had 2.2.
Oh yeah,
but I shipped it anyways. So I really have 1.1 to play with, but it's a pastel Enchi hypo double head DG pied. So everything will be hypo. You get a super Enchi triple visual. So it's those babies that I produced over a year ago are the female's about 1,000 grams, 1,100 grams. So I'm hoping that they keep eating and they can go this next season for me. If I can get a triple visual male from that, he's going to run through a lot of stuff.
Yeah. I was kind of thinking through scenarios myself today because I've got one male on my original plans. He's young. He's plenty big, but he's just young. I don't know if he's going to get it done or not. So then it was like, and he's an acid. So I was going to run acid through some of my recessive females, but then I was like, well, if he doesn't go, I've got a hypopide. I could go to, make the triple routes, to clowns and ultra males and that sort of thing. So it's kind of, but then I was like, man, yeah, if I could hit a triple, then I could use it for, I could use that one male for an incredible number of projects. And if I hit the hets on top of it, even better. I mean, obviously they would all be het, but if I use them, great. And if not, maybe somebody else can. They'll just help them sell kind of deal.
Yeah, it's there's when I got into it, I liked so many different things, but it was like I had one pairing of each. So I got into Monarch. I have some visual Monarch stuff. So making hets with that. But so there's gonna be double and triple hets with that. I'm doing the DG VPI stuff, and then I'm doing the Desert Ghost True Ghost, so it's DG Hypo VPI. So I'm trying
to. That's going to be stacked. DG Hypo and
Desert and Xanthic VPI Xanthic.
Xanthic, yeah.
So I love the way True Ghosts look. I really like Hypo. I think it ages. People are going to go crazy right now and want to crucify me, but I think it ages better than any recessive hypo.
Good for you. No. I'm with. I can't go that far, but I can't disagree. I'm really bullish on hypo. I have a lot of hypo, and matter of fact, today I was like, when I was cleaning a tub, I have a fire Enchi pastel hypo female, and she's just electric, just bright yellow, and I was like, that girl objectively might be the best looking snake in my whole collection. Like on paper, it's not, but in person, and like you say, they just age incredibly well. Yeah, I got a lot of hypo going on, man. I can't disagree with you. I don't have enough experience with Desert Ghost, certainly over a long period of time. But maybe that would be the other sort of player in that comment.
Well, yeah, and that's where that's where everyone's gonna go crazy over and say, oh, it's Desert Ghost, and Desert Ghost, I hear this so many times, and it comes from people I respect, so I'm not trying to, jam anyone, but it's like they're like, oh, it gets better over time. No, it doesn't. I hatched out a Desert Ghost female that still looks awesome, but she looks way better than any adults I have. I've got and I've seen them. I've grown them up from hatchlings, and I've got that are adults, and there's no way it looks as good as it did when it came in. It doesn't look far off, and it does do amazing things to projects, and I'd much rather have Desert Ghost in all my projects than hypo. So it's not a bad thing, but hypo is the only one, like as babies, it's not like it actually gets better with time.
It does get better, man. I have a clutch of Mojave hypos this year. I think Tito's in the audience. I was even just talking with Tito last week. I was like, man, every time these things shed, and there's another one you just hard to catch on camera. Like I look at pictures and I'm like, those are okay. But in person, man, they just glow,
Right. Yeah, no, I agree. And they're not nearly as expensive or valuable, in the market, but man, the GHI chocolate hypo I have is the nicest looking snake I have.
Steve Casino had, maybe it was a GHI chocolate. He certainly had a chocolate hypo combo, and it was like, that might be the best looking thing on your table. And he had a bunch of DG stuff, but yeah, I love those dark morphs with that hypo on, especially like the brown morphs, man. The Mojaves, Enchis, the chocolate, strange. I haven't seen a stranger hypo in person, but I'm sure that would be amazing as well. Either. But I like those, man.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So I got some lace stuff. I got a white lace female that's about ready to go. So I'm going to try and do a joint pairing with the Mandarin. So she's a white lace, yellow belly, pastel, 66% at clown. Really nice girl from Seth at DD Exotics. And then I'm going to send her shed test in too, but I'm going to hopefully pair him with the Mandarin clown. So everything will be lace. and then we'll have Mandarin lace, and then it'll be all het clown, at least, if it's not visual. So stuff like that. I've just really been trying to get creative. I think a little bit outside the box, because there's so many jeans that just come to my brain every time I want to do a pairing, and then I forget about, oh, I got acid over here. What about that? Or I got chocolate over here, or, you know, these are all valuable jeans that people really want, but they just don't pop into my head because I'm always looking at, okay, what's the best recessive to pair to this? It's like, well, hold up. I could pump the brakes a little bit and make some stuff down the road. That'll be so. I just, you know, I have 50 or 60 animals to sell because those are all animals that I thought were going to be cool to hatch out, and now I realize I can't use them, and I wasn't excited to cut them. It was just, I knew what they were going to be. And
yeah, I mean, that's some of that's the byproduct nature of what we do. Yeah, I've been fortunate. I don't know, I'm still like a kid in a candy store when I cut. I'm just like,
it's so fun cutting them. It's like blind bags for adults.
Yeah, yeah. It's like, what's it gonna be? You know, it's like that. It's that same nerve that twitches like when you're waiting to see that river card flip. You know,
yeah.
Like, what's it gonna be? I know the odds, but what's it gonna be? You know, what is going to show up there? So, what was like some? Have you had to hit any like major resets or major things that you were just like, oh no, oh, like we gotta stop this, shut it down?
Oh, the first year,
yeah.
Like when I had like 50 snakes, I was like 4 months in, I had a mite outbreak at my last place, and it was bad, and it just crept up on me like a freaking hurricane. Like I didn't see them and be like, oh, they'll go away. It was like, oh, there's some. It's like, oh, what the heck? And I didn't realize how bad it was. So that was a 17-hour day. It was stressful, and I had them on paper for 6 months afterwards because I was told the eggs can lay dormant if you didn't catch them for 6 months and rehatch. And and it was an old house I was in. It was an old wood floor. I sanitized that room like triple through every rack box. It was a nightmare. And so, you know, knock on wood, I haven't had them since. But at the same time, that was very traumatic because it was a lot of work. It was a long day.
It is. So, I had them when I had 12 snakes, maybe, from a, you know, of course I wanted a white snake. So I bought a super lesser, and that thing came with mites and I didn't know it. Getting everything out, getting the whole room bombed, putting the, you know, I'm trying to find pillowcase. I didn't have 13 snake bags or place to put them, you know. It's a nightmare, man. You get those once and you get real serious about what you let in your room after that. I know that for sure, man. And then what about any, like, when it came to like morphs or breeding or things that you had bought and then you just had like realization?
I had that sunset. The first thing I put him to was my first pairing ever was to a lesser DG girl. And they locked up about 5 or 6 times, and she reabsorbed right after I sold them. And then I paired up again, and she reabsorbed. So I have this beautiful female that I thought was going to go this year, but she didn't. And so I don't even know. I mean, that's got a big 3,000 gram desert ghost female. It's beautiful, but she just doesn't want to lay eggs. So that, I mean, the sunset thing was a hiccup. It kind of freaked me out, especially since I undersold them so much. But you know what? I made up for it on that clutch. So just roll with it, but nothing really catastrophic. Nothing.
That's good, man. And I like sharing those, not to make people feel bad or rehash things, but to like, because I feel like we all go through them. I was chuckling about your, you know, this 3,000 gram female that you have. I've told this story before, but I wanted in August of 2020. I was like, I'm going to get a breeder female, man. I'm ready to jump in. I'm going to do this. And I didn't have a whole lot of money. And so I bought this pastel female, and I don't even remember what I was going to pair her to. 2 parts of it are funny. One part that's funny is that we're heading into 2023 now, and she has never laid for me, and she's monstrous. And here I go again this year trying to pair her. However, what was really funny is about 4 or 5 months. It was around Christmas when I didn't hear from the breeder I bought her from. No follow-up. No, how was it? How's she doing? None of that. No post-purchase support, which was fine. I didn't need it, but, you know, just from a general practice. And then out of the blue, he messages me. He goes, "Hey, I'll buy that girl back from you." And I was like, "Well, no, it's about to be breeding season. I've really invested in her to breed." And he was like, "Yeah, I'll pay you twice what you paid me for her." And I was like, "Yeah." And I go look on his Facebook page, and he had bred her to a clown to make het clowns and popped out a whole bunch of Kryptons. Oh. So, so I was like, all right, cool. Now I'm really excited for this girl because I had a pastel clown male, and I was like, yes, I'm in it. She has never gone for me, not once. Monstrous girl, man.
Well, and then one other thing too that I don't want to forget, because I like to tell people, is I have right now I got four racks. At the time I had 2, and all my breeders were in the 70-30 at my old place, and so all females. And I had it on it was on a Freedom Breeder thermostat. It was one of those FB2s. It was 5 a.m. I was getting ready to go to work, and I just walked in there just to check them real quick. And as I passed it, I felt heat coming off of the rack. And long story short, opened the tubs, and all the girls were at the front. Some flew out. I temp gun, the back of the tub was like 125.
Oh my goodness!
And the thermostat said it was 90. It said it was perfect. So I ripped that thing out. I stopped that, unplugged it. Luckily, I didn't lose anything. If I hadn't have checked on them, I mean, I don't even want to know what would have happened that day. But what I did do, so my moral of the story is check your equipment, check your racks. And then the herp stats so far are the ones that haven't failed me. So I went with those. And then to lighten the load on all these bigger racks, I put a herp stat 4 on each one. So instead of having 2 probes, 1 probe control 5 levels, it's either controlling 2 or 3 levels to make the thermostat work less, hopefully last longer and work more efficiently. But and then on my 10 series rack, I have a 1070, I put a herpstat 6 on it. So a little bit more money, but the peace of mind, I haven't had any problems, yet. But it's been great. So I would just say check your equipment, and even if it comes from a reliable company, just you never know. They're not made by those companies, they're sold by them.
Yeah, and that's true. There's branding that just gets slapped on them. I'll second herpstat. I've never had a problem with herpstat. I do run a VE on my hatchling rack, and I've not had an issue with that. But herpstats are, I think they're the only ones I'll spend money on going forward. And I have no affiliation with them. But I agree with you. And I keep my temp like I temp daily, not extensively. If one's good, I'm kind of going on. But I do temp all the time, man. Like I lose sleep over that, both from the safety of the animals, but also the safety of the house. Like I can't have a fire. I can't, this is what I got, man. I can't lose that. So I'm pretty conscious about that. I've got a fire extinguisher and then the herpstat thermostats on it. I probably have a firewall, to be honest with you, from the garage to the house, but I don't know.
Miguel did it his thing. He put those bombs up top. He put 2 of them. Once they hit, I mean, it's going to make a hell of a mess. But once the fire said they blow up these fire retardant foam, and he got 2 of them for his whole room. At least in the old room he did. He probably threw another one in there now with that extra area.
Yeah.
But if there were to be a fire, and the smoke hits it, that thing's putting it out, and it'd be a fun day of cleaning. But still, you don't lose your animals.
Hey, you know what?
It's safe for the animals too.
Yeah, I've been in a restaurant that we set the sprinkler off in, man. If I can survive that and stay in business, I can.
Yeah.
Hey, it saved our restaurant, man. And that, I'm gonna have to message you on. You said they're called fire bombs.
I don't know what they're called. I call them that. They might be called that, but they're essentially the size of, I don't know, like a smoke detector.
Yeah.
And whatever they have in them, it's like fire retardant foam.
Yeah,
and it's
just
thick and explode. I mean,
Man.
One for his size of his room, he was saying that 1 was enough, but he's just like, I'm just gonna get 2.
Right. If anybody in the audience knows what those are, can post a link or something, please feel free. Let me know on that. That's the kind of thing. I use a what do they call it? UPS, uninterruptible power supply backed up on my incubators right here. So I use that, and it's not going to get me very long, but it has an alarm when it kicks on, an alarm goes off. So it'll wake me up in case I lose power overnight kind of thing.
Yeah.
And it just buys me the time and the alarm, and I do have a generator backup ready to go too.
Well, that's cool. Yeah. My concern was that I was worried about that too. And I had one, and then I was like, oh, it's only going to give me like 4 hours on this thing. But then I was like, well, I'm more worried about the heat because, let's say the incubator's at 88 or 89 and it drops down after a day, it drops down to 75. I mean, is it really going to affect the eggs? It's just going to take them longer. I mean, it's not going to kill them. It's not going to torch them. Whereas the fire, so not to say that that's a bad thing. That's a good thing.
Right.
But yeah, my fear that I've lose sleep over is stuff like fire.
Yeah.
I'm like Shere Khan from Jungle Book. Freaking
out. Hey, it's the top of the hour. Let's take just a second. I got to say a huge thanks to Redline Shipping and Cold Blooded Cafe. Look, I'm proud to be aligned with the two people that I think are at the top of their game for what they do in our industry and what they do for our industry. I'll tell you a story right now. Redline, well, there's two things I've learned. Almost everything goes through Memphis or Indianapolis, no matter where you live and where you're shipping to. So I was shipping something from Jacksonville to Punta Gorda, Florida, which I thought they would slap on a truck and send south. Turns out they sent it to Memphis, and the animal got delayed in Memphis. It's there right now. I called Redline. I said, look, I know you guys told me not to ship. I did anyhow, thinking it would be on a truck. They said, no problem. Let me get FedEx on the phone. We're going to find that package. We're going to get it put in an office, temperature controlled for you. 2 hours later, Mary, shout out Mary at Redline. She called me. This was today. This all happened today. She called me. She said, hey, they've located him. He is in a temperature controlled room. He'll go out on a plane in the morning and he'll be in Punta Gorda one day late, but he'll be landing in Florida. Like, that's the service. That's the stuff I'm talking about. They have better prices, but forget it. I pay more for that kind of service. So kudos to Redline Shipping. And you guys know what fans of Cold Blooded I am. They just look. There's not much difference between the food humans eat and the animals eat, and Cold Blooded produces their food in a facility that I would cook food in. So it's amazing. Check them out if you feed frozen thawed. That's my recommendation. So thanks to everybody in the audience, man. We were up at around 60. We got 52 in here right now. If there's anything you guys want to talk about, let us know. We got a few things more on the list. This is Andrew from Redwood Reptiles. And we're just hanging out tonight, talking snakes. So this has been a pretty good conversation so far. I feel like I've enjoyed it anyway. So I think it translates well. Tell me where we didn't catch earlier. Where are you located now?
So I just moved. Born and raised in LA, in Los Angeles, but just moved south about an hour and a half. So I'm in Menifee.
Okay.
Just north. It's like in wine country, just north of Temecula. If anyone's familiar with Southern California. Yeah. So about an hour and a half north of San Diego, an hour and a half south of LA.
Gotcha. Still in Orange County or south of Orange County?
No, it's south of Orange County.
South of Orange County.
It's considered Riverside County.
Oh, okay. I gotcha. Yeah, I had seen on one of your videos you said adios to LA or leaving LA or something. I was like, that's cool. I love LA, but I'm only good for it for like 3 days. Like, I don't sleep the time I'm there. I go, and by the time the sun sets on the third day, I'm like, I'm out of here. I'll see you in another 5 years, LA. I've had enough.
This to me, I'd like to move out of the state, but this to me is a very nice Band-Aid from LA.
Oh yeah. I mean,
it's still California, still whatever, but it's definitely much more palatable than LA was, especially living there, working there. It's so congested and so busy and traffic, and you start to realize what because it's LA. Why? Because it's in movies, and I've worked so much, like or not even working, but just being over there, you start to see all these iconic buildings and signs and statues that they put in movies and TV shows, and you realize, oh yeah, that's cool, but pan out like 30 feet and then there's a lot of, name whatever you don't want to see, and it's there. So people, I feel bad for a lot of tourists that come because they think they're going to come to this magical place, and they get here and they're looking around like, this is it. And I don't blame them. Unless you know somebody that lives in the area, there's nice cities and nice things to do, but it's not in the city of Los Angeles. It's not in, all the commercialized places. So
I love it for all like the I don't know, the grit or the like the under like the dives like it's probably one of the dirtiest bars in the world, but I mean the Rainbow on Sunset is just a phenomenal place with just amazing rock and roll history. It's right up the street from the whiskey, which everybody knows about the whiskey, but the Rainbow is its own kind of vibe,
I've been getting tattooed on Sunset Strip Tattoo since I was 18. So
really?
I'm almost for over 20 years. So I've I've been over there quite a bit, and I mean aside from getting tattooed, but it's I don't like LA, but like to what you're saying, there's something about it and it bothers me, but there's something about it that is familiar. I like, and I think it's like you're saying, it's that grittiness that.
Yeah, or a diner at 3 a.m. after the bars have closed, and it's just so like you don't get that in many cities. Or like right downtown is like just a ghost town after dark. And there's a bar down there called the Golden Gopher, man. That's just it's just this phenomenal bar. Like I love those things. So I mean, like okay, the Hollywood sign's fantastic. I'm more excited about the hike up to it. It's kind of a cool
houses along the way.
Yeah, exactly. But anyway, I love the scene there. But like I say, after 3 days, I got to go home, and it's good for me for years. Tell me what. Totally off topic. I was going to say off of reptiles. It is off of reptiles. Well, what's up with all these reptiles owners owning Bengal cats? What are the deals with these things, man?
Is that a thing?
Okay, so I don't know. The only time I've ever in my life heard of Bengal cats are at our local shop, they're great. Extreme Exotics, Barchek is filmed there. Kaufman's filmed there. They're great. Extreme Exotics is fantastic to me. They've been a good help to me. But you walk in, and the first third of the store is this floor to ceiling Bengal cat display, and they're bouncing all like. It's like an Exoterra terrarium, except it's 12 feet high with cats all over the walls, man.
So I don't like cats. And
I don't either.
My 9-year-old is obsessed with cats, and she had one that was like psycho. So I got rid of it, and she never let anyone live that down. And so for the past year and a half, she has a stuffed animal that has the cat's image on it. So it's like, she's a good kid, and we were like, well, if you find something, I was like, well, start looking for something hypoallergenic because I'm allergic to them. And I just don't care. And so I was like, what about a Sphinx? Those are cool. And she's like, no, I don't want that. That's ugly. And so we settled on a Bengal because I thought there's something unique about it. There's a wildness to them. There's it makes them more interesting to me than just a regular cat.
Yeah.
And so that was the only reason why. It's just because cats are boring to me, but this one's almost a little too much sometimes.
Admit it, you're becoming a cat guy.
Never. But I do like that cat a lot.
Yeah, I don't know. I like I say it's the only place I've ever seen him is in a reptile shop, and like.
Oh, dude, we had to drive 4 hours to Bakersfield to go get it. There's not a lot of breeders out here.
Yeah, if those of y'all that don't know, to make a decision to drive 4 hours to Bakersfield, you got to really want to go get
through
something.
LA and all that. Yeah. And then you got to sign a thing there because they're this guy had been doing it for 25 plus years, and you have to sign a contract. If you don't get it spayed or neutered within the first 6 months, then they're coming after you for like $10K.
What do you have to have a license for it or something? Why?
No, but it's such a small community. They want to corner the market. So if you want to buy one of their animals, which are really nice, you've got to sign an agreement. It's a legal document essentially saying that if you don't fix it, because they're worried about you breeding and messing up their game. So if you don't send them the proof that you had it spayed or neutered, then I think they're gonna come at you.
Wow.
Yeah.
I didn't know there was a whole like underground cartel. That's cool.
Yeah.
Not really, but I mean, that's interesting. And even still, you're like, yeah, that sounds cool. I'll take one.
Yeah. Well, I don't want to breed. God, breeding cats, gross.
Oh, I know.
I don't care what cat they are.
That's worse than rats because
I
was going to make a joke. I can't feed them to my snake. I won't make the joke. But that's worse than rat. I'm allergic to both of them horribly. Funny. Now, you know what? Next time I'm in the store, I'm going to be like, so what's the deal? If I buy one of these, do I have to do anything special? Like, I want to like see if like they'll admit that I have to like.
They're like, no, they're already fixed.
Yeah, we already took care of that for you, sir. This
Mhm.
one has no testicles.
Yeah.
It's perfect for you. All right. Hey, tell us about this contest, man.
Oh, you mean the 15 minutes lame contest?
That's the one. That's, you happen to know what I'm talking about.
It's a contest, and it's for Chris. It's for Snakes and the Fat Man. He does. He started doing the 15 minutes of lame segment on his shows where he brings on a new breeder, and it's more of a personality test than it is a interview about your plans in the industry. So if you can't vibe or you can't understand his cynical sense of humor, then you're gonna have a tough time. But you get 15 minutes on the clock. He asks you some basic questions, and some of them are hard to answer. Like, why buy from you? It's like, that's a tough question. He asks everyone the same question.
Your answer was phenomenal, though. It inspired me in case I ever go on the show to. I have that answer ready, but I can't ever share it because unless I go on,
Well, yeah, exactly. And but if you're on there, you gotta. It's because I care about my animals, and I really. It's like, yeah, everyone does. That's like when people just change the channel. I don't know. So I was it was stressful for me to try and think of something creative.
He's going to eat you alive if you give that answer too. If you like, oh yeah, I care the most. Yeah.
That's cool. Let's just fast forward these 5 minutes of the interview. But what people don't realize, and I will say this, is if you listen to his questioning, his line of questioning, and the way he responds to certain answers, he's essentially giving you a blueprint for how to breed and how not to breed and how to come into this industry. So I've talked to people that aren't a big fan of his, his persona, because that's what it is. The guy's super nice. It's more of a character. I mean, that's his personality. It's his sense of humor. So that is, what makes him laugh, which makes me laugh. But at the same time, he's not that guy 24/7. Like he's a nice guy. He's super personable. And he's gonna kill me for saying, but a lot softer than he comes off. Yeah, nice guy though, but in a good way, not in a chump way, in a good way. Right. Yeah, he's just people look at that and they can't get past it. But the reality is, if you tell him, hey, I invested, like I told him, I liquidated my 401k and invested it, he almost had a heart attack, right?
Yeah.
Now, if I turn into
like I would too.
Yeah. If I turn into, making these big breeder money in the next 2, 3, 4 years, then he's going to be like, hey, it worked out for you. There's a high probability that won't happen though. So that's why he's, he grabs his chest. But then you talk to, and then he'll say, well, you've invested 30K. Okay. That's not crazy. How much you made back? Oh, 10K. And then he's like, oh, that's really good.
Yeah.
That's 30. That's So you have to listen to it and see how he responds. He doesn't just, crap on every answer you give, but he really is kind of laying out a good blueprint for what to do and what not to do. People miss that, I think.
So my own 2 cents, so a couple facts. Every person I've ever talked to that knows him says he's an awesome dude. My interactions with him have been very good. He was, we couldn't get the scheduling worked out, but he absolutely cordially invited me to do a 15 minutes of lame filming with him. And Jeremy Bott and Jeremy worked on a US Arc auction item, but it was a guitar that I had made. And he got Chris to cut a promo and do the promo video for that US Arc auction item. And Chris was really gracious about all of it. So yeah, it's a different show. It's a different product than mine for sure. And Persona's, I suspect, exactly right. And he's got a little different one than I do. I'll tell you, I went on one of the open breeder calls that he hosts. That's a whole different world. Like
that's chaotic. That's a
completely different world. And that kind of turned me off, both in that it's just not my scene. And then some of the behavior of some of the people. And I was like, man, this is not me. Like, I don't care what people do, but I'm not going to spend my time on it. But his show, I will say, after watching you and Reggie and Jana and Stephen and Courtney's segments, his show is there's a lot more depth to it than.
Okay, I don't like how you're naming off my direct competition. You could say you like Patrick's because Patrick's my guy. You could say you like. No, I'm just kidding.
Well,
but to so I didn't finish my thought, but he takes all the 15 minutes lane guests, and then he has a competition at the end of the year to see who everyone's favorite is. And so there's a voting process you can go through. You just go to snakesandthefatman.com. You vote for Redwood Reptiles. You click on my picture, and then every 24 hours you can vote until midnight on Christmas Eve. The winner is going to get their own show, and they pick their own 15 minutes lame guest to come on and start the year. Nice. So Antoine picked me last year to go on his show. That's how I was the first guest of the year. And then
very cool.
So that's how that worked. Dang, I forgot. I thought I was going to remember what I interrupted that for, but I forget.
Well, I'm going to jump in real fast. All of Andrew's contacts are down below in the description. If you click on his link tree, the very first link in the link tree will take you right to the voting, and you can vote for Andrew right there. See how we did that? You teed it up for me, and I just right there.
You carried the green on that one.
Doesn't get said much about me, man. Yeah. So I feel like this year it's taken on a whole new, and I think you're part of the reason for it. It's taken on a whole new character, man. Of all joking aside about the people I just named, like all of you guys are killing it, playing these whole like soap operas of reels off of each other, and it's fantastic. And I got to hand it to Chris too. Is brilliant. Like, all right, I'm going to bring these people on. We're going to do a 15-minute segment, and then they're going to spend 3 months advertising for my show.
Right.
Brilliant. Hats off.
Free marketing.
Yeah. Fantastic. Right. But it's been great to see. And I feel like it's a whole lot more of camaraderie. I know you all want to win, but it's like camaraderie, fun, creative. It's breathed some life into like the industry versus everybody just being down about, some supposed recession and this and that, or real recession. I know people are going through tough times. Maybe it is real for them. I don't know. So I've really enjoyed it. It's been cool. And I think that I think you've probably got a sense of humor that would be really fun to explore over some beverages, and maybe not on a PG.
Yeah. I like to think so. That's all I got.
Podcast show, So when do you ever make it to any of the shows in the East?
No, furthest east I've gone was, I guess, what's more east, Tinley or Arlington? About the same.
About the same, yeah.
Yeah. So those two I've been to. I do want to go to one of those Nashville shows in a bad way, mostly because I want to go to Nashville. But
right, yeah,
that'd be fun. But I heard Daytona was good. I haven't gone there, but I heard it was fun to go to. The only thing I've vended, the furthest east I've vended was Las Vegas.
Yeah,
which was I think they threw up like one like advertisement on a barbershop somewhere in Vegas because nobody was there.
No, really.
It was brutal. We saw one billboard there, but this Pomona one's been marketed a lot better.
Yeah, that one's pretty well-known show. That's a pretty big show too, isn't it?
Yeah, and this is the thing. I've vended twice at Pomona, and I've gone 4 times now, and I noticed that it seems more of like it's treated more of like a zoo, in the sense that families will bring their kids and go look at all these fun reptiles, and people buy stuff, but it's on the very, very small scale, pet owner scale type thing. You don't see a ton of breeders going out there, a ton of people looking to purchase necessarily. You get that, but it's not like a Tinley where people are going to buy, or it's not like certain things. So I don't know if that has anything to do with the with Ramey or anything like the promotion side of it. Mm-hmm. Maybe it doesn't, because everyone that is a breeder really knows what Pomona is. So maybe it has something to do with the fact they just couldn't make it out. But I just noticed that seemed to be the vibe, was more of like a pet owner family. Let's go look at the cool animals, because everyone's asking you to hold them. Nobody wants to buy them.
Yeah.
But I don't know what the answer is to fix that. I just know that it's tough for breeders to go there, especially guys, like I'm vending with Troy from Best Dressed Balls and quite a few other people. I'll just say it, with Antoine from High Desert Pythons, Jerome, No Limit Reptiles, or No Limit Royals, sorry. He's in the chat. And Jacob from Civil Serpents, and then Josh and Kendall from Ball Python Shed. So we're gonna have a big booth. But Josh and Kendall and Troy, they're driving they're driving long ways to come vend these shows with a lot of animals through a lot of weather. And to do that is a big undertaking, both financially and just logistically. And to not, they do okay, but the last few shows have been pretty brutal. So I know that they're hoping that this one's better. And I hope it is too.
When is that? When's that next show?
That's January 7th, 6th, 7th, 8th, or 7th, 8th, 9th.
Yeah. Okay. So 6th, 7th, 8th, Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
That's cool. When we talked earlier in the show, when I said, we'll see how I like vending, man, you lit up like a Christmas tree. You love it, man. What's that?
Oh, it's fun.
Well, yeah, tell me about it. Like I say, you lit up. I made a note. I was like, I got to circle back to this, man.
I don't know. I have to just address something in the chats because Leviathan said I haven't accepted their collab request, which I only know of one, which you saw. Because they didn't pull that footage. But I don't know what she's talking about.
We're gonna talk about that too. Keep going though.
I'll just say I don't know what she's talking about because I know it's Courtney running the show. So anyways, no, so the vending thing. So I didn't think I would ever vend. I didn't think I would like it. I thought it'd be too stressful bringing my animals around all these other animals. There's that element, but at the same time, to vend, maybe it's because I vend with my friends, with the group that I do, that makes it so fun. But even just walking around, talking to people, and getting there, setting up, and just having your own little space, and being around people that you usually talk to, digitally, and just to interact with them on a human level, like face to face, is really nice. And then having that, 1 or 2 dinners, the first night or the second night, and just the networking and the camaraderie. If you really care about people and you like these people, then it's an excuse to be able to go hang out with your friends, essentially, and makes it much more enjoyable. We have a blast. There's we're all jealous of Jacob that he sold that damn animal and he crushed everyone in Vegas, because we've ended together then too. But there's a difference between being jealous of somebody's sales and then hating on them because
absolutely.
So we're all happy for him, but of course we all want that, right?
Yeah.
Who doesn't want? But it doesn't mean that it's in a negative way. We're just like, man, that's awesome. So if you're with the right people and you have the right intentions, it's great, I think.
Yeah, I would say so. I think most of the people watching know, or maybe not, but I've been fortunate enough. Dale at Constricted Reptiles has now hosted me twice to vend with him. I just said, I put it out there. Hey, I'll come work, and I won't expect any pay. I don't want to sell my own stuff. I just want to come learn. And Dale was like, yeah, you come vend with me,
He's like, free help. Okay.
Yeah. Well, and it was, I don't know if he said this, but there was even a little bit like, well, if you suck, what's the worst? I'll just tell you to go away. Like, exactly. There you go. That's the deal. That's what I'm offering.
Yeah.
And he's been very good to me and very insightful. But the things you're talking about, you're exactly right. So when I've gone to Daytona this last time after having this show and having my channel, man, the connections, the people that, like you say, you only get to meet digitally. I had dinner with Ken from Primal Scales. He lives in Ohio, man. I was never going to meet that guy, or Indiana. Sorry, Ken. I don't know where you're. Indiana.
Tomato.
Yeah, we were kind of close, and now I forgot where he lives. No, Ken's awesome, but I got to have dinner with him, and just the people that you meet, and like you're talking about, the camaraderie. I'm looking forward to it. And they were in the audience earlier. Shout out to Snakes for the Memories. It's their first show vending, and they have the booth right next to me. They have a YouTube channel as well, so I imagine we're gonna have to do a moment like where we're both filming each other, because we're not selling anything. So we'll see how it all goes. It'll be fun in Orlando. Yeah,
no, definitely. I dig it, and I think you might too. And it's a fun experience.
Yeah, I really am excited. I think I will dig it. I've shouldered the cost of I've stomached the cost of the overhead. I got my displays. I got my banner. I ordered it. Actually, I've decided it's going to be put to use in 2 ways. Instead of just having a unpainted wall back there, I'm going to put my banner behind me.
There you go.
So yeah, multitask kind of thing. Yeah. How did this tell us how the story, since you brought it up, man, it's fantastic. Tell us how the story of the reel, you know what I'm talking about. I'll let you take it. No spoilers.
We're going to give you a peek behind the fourth wall.
There we go. Yeah, pull the curtain back. Show us how the sausage is made, man.
Sorry, Courtney. Anyways, they hit me up and said that they wanted to do, a collab thing and kind of, because I had fired and just nailed the target on Steven on a prior video. And it was a play off of their kidnapping video of Shane and Chris Eden. So I put a video out, then they said, hey, do you want to do a collab thing, kind of piggyback on the whole kidnapping thing? I said, yeah, sure. So this is what she said. And it's not verbatim, but I'm paraphrasing. Yeah, just send like a couple clips of you doing stuff around the house, and then I just got an idea of like then Steven will appear with the Nerf gun or something. I'm like, okay, so whatever. So it's kind of exactly what I thought, but I figured I'd make it fun instead of just doing stupid cleaning stuff. I was like, let me be goofy about it.
Yeah, it was great.
The video I sent them was like 40 seconds long, so I tried to snip it down lower, but they chopped it right on up. So they did a good job of it, though. I know the reels have to be quick, so I totally get it. But so yeah, they took it and ran with it, and then it was a little back and forth as far as like thoughts or whatever. But it was, it's super painless. And it was fun to do. I had plans to do a little clap back, but got sidetracked with some other stuff here, so I didn't. But yeah, man, they're good people actually, and that's one of the things I really respect about them. And their whole process, their whole mindset on this business side of it is I knew who they were before the competition, which to me is kind of important. And this is not I'm not going to name any names who I didn't know, but this is not something to badmouth them. It's just something that I noticed. Like I knew who they were prior because they've been putting in so much time and effort and work, and they've really always been good with their videos and their photography and everything. I've always admired the quality of their videos, and they're very nice people. And they're invested in some, some good projects, similar ones that I am. I think they have like one sunset or something that they just started. I was kidding.
Not much. Yeah, I think
I think I have a Posset male.
I think they're thinking of buying one. Yeah. Like 2024 probably be the year for them.
They had the nerve to put out some 24-minute video on Sunset the other day. I sat through reluctantly.
Weird,
but they're good people, and they've been putting in the effort. So, I think that's an important factor with this whole thing, because my opinion on this whole competition, it's fun and everything, and it does build some camaraderie. But if you weren't around before and you might not be around after, it's kind of like, what are you doing? Like you should use it as a platform to grow your business, to grow your following, to be help contribute back to the community, something positive.
Yeah.
And it would, hopefully whoever wins does that. And if it is them, then I have no doubt they're going to. So shout out to those two for being the cool people they are.
They were a couple of the very first people I met in this industry and have been very good to me. And I know for a fact, Stephen and Courtney have been on the show more than anybody else. They've been real good to me. And they'll be 2 weeks they'll be on. We'll do our goals show together. 2023 goals, first Tuesday in January. Let's see. Next week we have the season ending wrap up. If you've been on the show, if you want to be on the show, if you want to come hang out, we'll just do kind of a lobby, people coming in and out. We'll make it less PG, maybe less structured, maybe keep the kids in bed or put them to bed that night. But it won't be like it won't be a Snakes and the Fat Man open breeding call episode. But we'll have 3 or 4 people on. Gershon from GP Snakes, another great dude in our industry, is going to be hosting with me. And at 9 p.m. next Tuesday night, Charlie Ryan from Reagan Renee Royal Pythons will be I screwed it all up, man. I've lost some momentum. He and I will be doing a dad joke face off. You laugh, you lose. First ever Proper Royals, 10 rounds of dad jokes. I'll be spending all week. I'm happy for any suggestions you have. I did see the one about the toaster earlier. I needed a little bit more reptile snake.
I got a hell of a resource for you. I'll send you afterwards.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh yeah.
Well, and I will say, like I much like you practice in earnest your dance moves. I write some dad jokes, man. I got them. I wonder if I should give like a little,
just give a little flavor, a little taste,
a little comedic, comedic hors d'oeuvre before the buffet of laughter.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see. I don't want to give I don't want to go too deep.
Now
here.
it's all about delivery, so let's not let's not mess this up.
That's true.
That's
true. What let's see here. Oh no, that one's good. I got to keep that. Hang on. I think I'm gonna let this one go.
You're gonna save it.
No. I'm putting this one out. This one I'm gonna do it. Yeah, I had to. I'm gonna let it go here. I'm gonna let this one rip. Where did the ball python live when he moved to Alabama?
You got me. Where?
Double pied trailer. Boom.
Double pie trailer.
Oh, see,
that was good.
I made you laugh, man.
That was good. I don't know what collab request they are talking about. They're all capped it right now in the comments. I have I have nothing.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Show your work. I don't see any evidence that I was ever asked for a collab. I'd like to see that.
They get plenty of FaceTime on this show. This is your night, Andrew. This is
what are we doing? See that? Yeah, they're sabotaging the whole thing. Sorry.
Andrew, where can everybody check you out, man? Where can we find you online and on the web?
This Redwood Reptiles everywhere. Instagram, YouTube, Redwood Reptiles at yahoo.com is the email. But check out my morph market as well. Same thing, Redwood Reptiles. My cell phone number is on there. If you guys ever have any questions and you can't get through to me on Instagram for whatever reason, feel free to call me or text me at any time. I keep weird hours. So, if I'm asleep, don't worry about waking me up. I ain't going to hear it. But yeah, feel free to text, call anytime if you have any questions, or I have a lot of stuff that I don't have listed on there. I think I only have like 5 or 6 animals listed, so there's that. And I'm just got another YouTube video I'm gonna probably put out tonight or tomorrow that I'm just gotta edit, but I got to get more consistent with that. That's a huge element to like this whole 3-headed monster of the business plan for the industry.
Yep.
So, I'm going to try and get on that a little bit more consistently. But
I look forward to it. Andrew, thanks for being on the show, man. We've been talking for, 6-8 weeks about getting you on, and I really appreciate it. Go check out Andrew at Redwood Reptiles, both on his sites, but also on the Snakes and the Fat Man voting site. All of Andrew's stuff is on the link tree down below, which if you're not using Linktree, I'm not affiliated with them, but man, it's so simple to funnel people to your place. Just Linktree / Redwood Reptiles. I'm sure it's something that simple, but the link is right there. So check it out. Next week, end of year party. Y'all have a Merry Christmas out there. Happy Hanukkah, whatever else you might be celebrating. And because I'm on a new computer, I have no theme music tonight because I didn't upload it. And so we're just going to do a cold finish. That's it. Sayonara. Adios.
Andrew, you guys, thanks for showing up.
Thank you so much for being here, brother. I had a good time. Stick around for just a second, Andrew.
Will do.
Everybody else, good night. I'll see y'all next time.